Calm down, guys. Calm down. Where'd you get that from? Hey? Oh, bloody hell. For about 20 minutes? Bloody hell. That delayed us a bit. Right. Right. We're ready. Hi, and welcome to the Contenders Corner Podcast, where we talk everything that is wrestling. I am your host, Jason, and join me as I dissect this episode of Hard Talk. We are an unbiased show here, and we'll go into this episode with an open mind. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, we aren't afraid to hit home some honest, wondrous thoughts. If you're new to this, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and comment in the comment section below, and share with us your opinions of what wrestling has been like over the past 3 months. Stay with us as we have a lot to discuss here. YouTube, are you ready? This is the Contenders Corner Podcast Hard Talk. We have got Scott and Matt joining us today. So right, guys, let's get into this. The Vince situation. What are your thoughts on that, Matt?
I think ever since Nick Khan got into the business, I think it's sounds like an inside job to me. He wants to take the McMahons out one by one.
Can you elaborate on that a bit more? What do you mean by he wants to take out the McMahons?
Well, he's like, obviously, he's got rid of Triple H's NXT, so he's like, kind of took a back step from there.
Yeah.
Then Stephanie was meant to leave the company for a while. And then he got rid of Shane after the Royal Rumble fuck-up. And now all this allegation over Vince. If Vince does get released from his duties, then Nick Khan will be the main man for the new CEO.
Do you reckon that will happen, Scott?
I hope not. Because since Nick Khan's come in, I think WWE hasn't really... It's lost a bit of respect, I think, from an outsider's point of view. I mean, he's the one that sort of led a lot of this, budget cuts, shall we say. We try to trim the fat a little bit because of an oversized roster. Fair enough, but I think since he's come in, it's not really. I think it's gone sort of downhill. I mean, he tried to get the working relationship with New Japan. That didn't work. Then all these wrestlers have gone because for reasons that I don't quite buy. Then there was the Mickie James situation of stuff in a black bag as she left. I think since Nick Khan's been high up the ball, it's like it's lost a little bit of it's just lost respect. And more people are looking at the company and thinking, gosh, I hate this company now. And a lot of that has happened since Nick Khan's come in. That could just be a coincidence, though.
Or could it be something else? Well, a lot of people have said Vince McMahon has lasted situations like this before. He had that shit go down in 1997. He's got this apparently rumoured split up with his wife. But you know what I mean? Like, there's been many times where he's outlasted like Rumours or big court situations before. Could he last this one, Matt?
Well, you know what, he's always battled up the scenes and he always seems to win, so you just never know with Vince. But, you know what the saying is, some people get too big for the boots, and sometimes they get knocked down a peg or two, so is Vince finally running out of luck?
I agree with you.
You can say the same for John Laurinaitis as well. Like, it's a bit strange how he wasn't at the SmackDown taping on Friday.
What do you think of the potential outcome of this if John Laurinaitis stays within the company, if Vince McMahon stays within the company? How would that look for the company?
Yeah, it won't look good.
Was it a good call for Stephanie McMahon to jump in as interim CEO?
It depends how you look here. I suppose she knows the business. She's been involved in the company for pretty much her entire life, so she knows. Well, I hope she knows what will work and what doesn't. The only thing that's a little bit weird is it wasn't that long ago that she was saying she was stepping away from WWE for practically the foreseeable future. And all of a sudden this happens, and all of a sudden she's back. So, yeah, it is a strange one, especially after announcing that she was leaving. But, I mean, if she's going to come in and improve things, then fair enough. I'm 100% behind her coming.
Is this a good move going forward? What do you think?
It's trial and error. I think it's just a wait and see what happens, and then if things start to improve, you can say, yeah, it's going to be a great move. I mean, she knows the business. She's been involved in it. She's the daughter of probably one of the most successful owners, the most successful owner in wrestling history. Her husband's one of the most successful wrestlers over the last 20 odd years. So, yeah, give her a chance, I say.
I've been looking at comments when I've been on Instagram, when I've been on Facebook, Twitter and stuff like that. I've been in Twitter group chats as well with other YouTubers and stuff like that, and they've had their conversations, and and then you just get that odd fan that goes, well, people with money can get away with it because they've obviously paid it off and shit like that. You know what I mean? He's obviously paid it with his own money, so it doesn't really matter. What do you think of that, Matt?
What do you mean, like paying him off? You mean?
So basically, like he's paid it off. He's paid her off. Well, apparently paid her off with her own money, so it shouldn't be like a big deal of a problem. And Vince McMahon's going to win anyway, because obviously he's paid her off with his own money.
Well, I heard the rumour was that the person who he paid off was Rosa Mendes.
Yeah, I saw that this morning.
Which technically was a former wrestler, not a former board member, as the press were saying. So, if that's the case, will it be another speaking out investigation, as what we've had in the UK?
So it brings on the question, doesn't it then, Scott? So, if it's happened now, and it's only just started coming out, has this happened before?
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me. I suppose we're in an age where social media, you'll find out anything on social media these days, and the fact that this has come out now, I mean, maybe this is the first, because usually rumours come flying out at extremely high speed. So, Oh, no, if this was happened before, surely you would have heard about it.
Another a YouTuber had talked about this, documented it, and said his take was that WWE boardroom, they've allowed a monster to get out of control. Would you think that is true?
Well, Vince is very set in his own ways.
Mm.
I mean, he's been out of control in his own way for quite a number of years now. But the thing is, people still watch the product. Regardless of what happens, people still watch it. People watch it in their thousands, in the arenas, millions watch it around the world. So I think regardless of what happens, people will still come back and they will still watch it. So,
has Vince already shown us his dirty, demeaning, derogatory side of things? You know, during the Attitude Era, he had women. You know, he embarrassed women, made them look small and shit like that. You know, sorry for my language, but with stories like this coming out, you know what I mean? With stories like this coming out, was the Attitude Era, was he showing fans, you know, that he was dirty then, now he's dirty now?
well,
Was his dirty side basically just lingering around and it's only just come to the surface? But it's always been there through, you know, his storylines, his promos with Stacy Keibler, his promos with Trish Stratus, you know, and it's people have only just started to realise, oh, with things like this coming out, he's been dirty all along. But he's been showing the world he's been dirty through his, you know, storylines and shit like that in the past.
Yeah, but I suppose you have to believe was the stuff we see just a character. Because the stuff we see on the screen,
yeah,
I mean, 99% of it is absolutely scripted and completely unreal. So what you see, you always think, well, is he just like that character? But I suppose it does make you sort of wonder.
Yeah. Is it? What do you think? What do you think, Matt? Is it character or?
Well, like you say, obviously he's the head main man to go to rating. So, like you say, when Bishop was there, and you all had the HLA storylines.
That's exactly what I was just thinking of as well.
So it's like he's obviously the person that's agreed to all this.
Yeah.
So, like you said, Jason, it's like, did he come and say, oh, you know, I'm going to be a dirty old man this week and I'm going to have a bit of lesbian action going on my show. So, that in them days, probably, yeah, you can get away with it. But nowadays, one false move, then you're all over the press.
But the question is, was he dirty all along?
I think so, yeah.
What do you think, Scott?
That is such an hard question to answer by everyone. Seriously. That is such a difficult question to answer.
This is our talk. It's unscripted, you know. We talk about anything on here, and you know, with stuff like this coming through the.
I'll probably say I'm leaning more towards yes, but like I say, I'm probably leaning more towards yes, but not 100%. Maybe it's just something that's just manifested over time.
If there was going to bring Vince McMahon back, and it all blew over. It was all forgotten of. No one talks about it again. Whatever. He gets away with it. When is the right time for Vince McMahon to come back? Should he stay away for years? Should he stay away for a couple of months? What are your thoughts on that, man?
Well, I'm going to say the guy's like 75 years old. He's you know, in my opinion, he needs to be on the wind down now. Enjoy the rest of his life that he's got, really.
Yeah.
I think like, now he's under investigation. Just the way he came out on SmackDown, a quick 2-minute promo. He didn't apologise. He didn't really discuss anything. He just said business as usual. Really, the way I would have done it, you go, right, listen, I was like, this is what he should have done. He should have done it out of character promo. Say, listen, I said, this promo is going to be out of character. I just thought I'll get it over and done with before the proper action starts. If you're with me, then fine. If you're against me, that's totally fine as well. This is a situation. I'll be gone for a while. If I do see you again, then I'll see you again. This is farewell, because I'll thank the fans for everything. And that could have been teasers like a farewell, retirement, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
Probably would have been the best way of saying goodbye to the company and let his children to pass the torch, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get you.
That's how I would have done it, like passing the torch over.
What are your thoughts on that, Scott?
Well, I thought when he come out, he was gonna either do a storyline step down or something similar. But for him to just sort of look like nothing's happened, I mean, fans will see through it, and it's for him to come out and say, "Oh, nothing's happened," to completely ignore it whatsoever. I mean, I suppose it can be seen as disrespectful to the lady in question. I think he should at least have done something on a storyline base where he's just sort of like Matt said, just taking a sort of backward seat. Right, he's still in charge of creative, but for him to come in and sort of like treat it as if like nothing's happened, like just a normal show. I mean, what's the point of doing that? You could have just done that on Twitter. You could have just done that on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
Why feel the need to come out to the ring and just brush it off like it's nothing? I mean, I just don't really see the point of that. I mean, people said they tuned in because they thought, oh, same thing's going to happen. And he just done that. I mean, was it just a ploy just to bring more ratings in?
Or was it the other way around? He feels powerful, he's a billionaire, and he feels like, I've got power, I can get away with it. And he feels and he feels high up, because obviously it's that common thing, isn't it? Like, a normal person like you or me, if that happened in the real world, you or me, the average person, they would properly investigate it. Our life would be ruined. We'd probably face a jail term. We'd probably get a fine. But it comes into that thing where he's a billionaire. He's got a lot of money. He feels like he's got power. Give her some money and she'll shut up, and then she'll get on with it. Jobs are good, and start the show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems so.
Well, like I said to you, Jace, I said what they could have done as well is possibly they like refreshing, in other words, old storylines.
Yeah.
And I said to you, like before, that what they could have done is refreshed the limo storyline and to play it into this present day, it could have gone out that way.
I see what you mean, yeah.
You know, who's blown up his limo or crashed his limo? He could have had like a limo crash. That could have, while the investigation was going on, it's like, God has survived. You know, and then you could have, that storyline been, well,
who's done it, yeah.
Tried to take Vince McMahon out.
No doubt it would be the head of the table, wouldn't it?
It'd be the woman.
Let's move on from Vince McMahon. I think we've wrapped up enough about that for 20 minutes.
For a lifetime, more like.
3 times in 10 years, Jeff Hardy has done a DUI. Is Jeff Hardy at the breaking point? Matt Hardy. Matt, what do you think about that?
Well, it's a bit of a tricky situation, really, because look at the companies he's been in, like, you know, Ring of Honor, WWE, TNA, and now AEW. They've all given him chances.
Yeah.
And he's always gained up these fines and suspensions. So it's like, you know, how much rehab can you actually give the person? You know, obviously sometimes it can't be helped. It might feel like a bit of a disease to him. It's like an, you know, addiction. You know, let's say when try and get off like cigarettes, for example. Some people can do it, some people can't.
Yeah.
Like drug addiction, you know, alcohol addiction. These are the things that obviously we don't know his past life really. So is it, you know, has something gone on in his life that makes him like this? Makes him want to have a drink and then he forgets that he's driving. But at the end of the day, Matt can't be his babysitter 24/7. And so, really, guess why knows the situation about how he gets. So, why can't his wife or other members of the family say, "Come on, Jack, you know, I'm your wife. You got a beautiful family supporting you. You're on the road with your brother. Now, just try to live the last couple of years of your career without you know, having your addiction, being a dick, and ruining the rest of your career without your brother."
It's very strange, isn't it? Because, you know, it's only a couple of months before that he was in WWE and he had the same situation. But a lot of the fans are gonna, you know, a lot of WWE fans will say, well, a couple of months ago he was in WWE. WWE tried to put him in rehab and brings on the question, well, why didn't he accept it when WWE offered him rehab? Scott?
Well, yeah. Sadly, there are fans that will come down to that. At the end of the day, it should be about the individual in question. That's Jeff Hardy. And he will be offered help, and I'm pretty sure he will take it. But I hope that finally the help, what he does, helps him find peace of mind, helps him overcome the demons, because the demons exist in a lot of people. A lot of people being a high-profile sport turn to alcohol once or sober. I mean, Paul Gascoigne, by an example.
Yeah, he's a big...
Sometimes the demons are just too much. No matter how much help you get, how much support you have with you, sometimes them demons overtake you, and and you give in. It's a shame, but that's life. It's what happens. A lot of people don't realise it.
Are we seeing that now with Jeff Hardy? Would you say? Is Jeff Hardy a Paul Gascoigne?
He's clearly trouble with something. Something's maybe it's just an addiction, just to drink. Maybe it's just that, or maybe there is, like Matt said, maybe there is something that's affecting him. But mate, some demons are hard to bury. Some things you just takes years to move on from. It's just if he has the right help, he can manage this. Maybe just take it each day as it comes. It's the best he can do.
John Moxley, for example. You know, he went into rehab for about 2-3 months. Got the right help. Got the support of CM Punk and fans behind him. And to be honest, I think John Moxley is better than ever.
Yeah, and a good thing about that is Moxley realised he needed to help himself. He put himself rehab because he knew he had that problem. Whereas he sort of saw the signs and wanted to help put a stop to it before things got too bad. And that's something I really applaud. And maybe Jeff needs somebody to do that for him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Jeff needs. Somebody can say, right, I can see your were driving straight, but I can see your car's real a little bit to the left. You need somebody to sort of like help take over the wheel for a little bit, straighten him up. Maybe sometimes you need someone to spot the signs before it gets too late.
Would you say it's gonna get to that stage? Touch wood.
It's hard to say, but it keeps happening. That's a concern.
The shocker for me was, he declined the out from WWE. He had months out, so there was a long stage for him to like calm down and get things straight. AEW called him up, and everyone's like, "Let me know the Hardys are back." So I thought, he's on the road to recovery. He's on the road, he's there with his brother. Things can get better now, and then bang, he does that DIY, and I'm just flabbergasted and thinking, what is going on? We could have had the Hardy Boys one last time as a tag team championship, tag team champions, and then, oh my god, I'm just shocked, man. I'm just really, out of all of this, I'm just confused, like, why?
The bit that sort of upsets me the most is when he sort of, not long after he joined AEW, in a promo with Matt, he said, like, AEW is my sort of, my second chance. Sort of like his chance to sort of redeem himself, improve himself, and then this has happened, less than 3 months
into
after that.
Yeah,
so that's the bit that concerns me most, but
this time he's not getting paid for it.
Yeah. We're going to get onto that, Matt. We're going to get onto that as we've got a lot of questions to cover. Carry on, Scott.
Yeah, and the fact that I think it's a smart move by Tony Khan because he is supporting him, but at the same time, he has to show that he's not taking what Jeff did very kindly. And I think that's it's a smart move, both a person and as a boss, because you wouldn't want your boss to sort of like start supporting and praising someone who's done something wrong. And the fact that he has kind of punished Jeff, but at the same time offered to help him, I think it's the right thing for Tony Khan to do.
because he's gone out and said, we're not going to pay you, but we'll give you rehab, and this is like, you either do it or you don't. You know what I mean? I don't want to ask this question, but I'm just going to get it out of there. I'll ask this one, Matt, first, and then if you want to answer it, give your take, you can. Was the bond too small?
What's the what, sorry?
Was the bond too small?
The bond too small? What do you mean?
3,500, and like basically anybody could afford. Anybody on Jeff Hardy's level can afford that type of bond.
Quite a difficult question, really, but that sadly I'd probably lean towards. It was a bit too soft.
What would you say, Scott? Was it too soft on Jeff Hardy's level, or was it? I don't know.
I don't really know that much about the American sort of penal system. I remember when you asked the same question to Stacey. Stacey was like, he put up a fair argument.
Yeah.
When he said that, well, nobody got hurt.
Nobody got hurt.
Really. Nobody was actually injured throughout the entire process. But, well, today he's a public figure. He's been in the spotlight for approaching 30 years now. So I can't compare it to other cases. I mean, if I knew all the statistics of other people in the same situation, I suppose I could provide a fairer answer. I suppose, nobody did get hurt. So it's an hard question to answer because I'm not quite sure how to answer it, really.
I do agree with Stacey. It's one of those, isn't it? You know, it's a very hard question to answer, as the guy didn't hurt anybody, but still, he put himself in a dangerous situation. Not only this time, but he's done it 3 times, and that's the scariest part about it, really. You know, is 3 times enough? And the scariest thing about it is, will the 4th time be the time where he hurt somebody? Or you can't really, I don't know, Matt?
I know what it means. Well, take a page out of that. Look how many chances he's had over the years. That that many times involved with police. It's like, well, will Jeff turn out to be the same? Because at the end of the day, he's got a problem, but then, God forbid, if he's ever become the worst and he got involved in, say, like a hit and run, then I think that will just tip him over the edge. I think he'll end up being suicidal for what he did.
With the rumours of Sasha floating around that she's fired, was Sasha paid off? And will she potentially go to AEW, Scott?
Well, firstly, I think the rumour's not 100% confirmed. I think as I'm saying this, I still think she is a member of the WWE roster at this very second. about being paid off, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, she was unhappy with how her and Naomi in the tag team division was being booked. She wasn't happy about that. And when she put her voice forward, again, this is just what I'm hearing from the internet, her and Naomi were told to watch her attitudes. So they walked out sort of out of protest the way they're being treated. So Vince be angry at her and Naomi because of what they did. She and Naomi will be angry at him. Everyone's just angry at each other, which is basically. I mean, I'm probably expecting her to. Well, knowing WWE, she's already come back in 6 months and win it, and be like Roman Reigns, our world titled. Everyone will be acknowledging her. So, I don't know. AEW is a possibility, but also so is Hollywood. I mean, she might, after this, decide she's done with wrestling altogether.
She has done a few films in Hollywood already.
Yeah, wasn't she in was it Mandalorian or something like that?
Mandalorian. Yeah. I think she was in Battleground as well.
Yeah, I think as it stands, I think she's still a member of the WWE roster. So until something breaks, say otherwise, we have to assume that she will come back at some point.
Would this be a steal for AEW if she gets called to AEW, Matt?
What's that, sorry?
Would it be a steal for AEW to pull Sasha into All Elite Wrestling?
I think she could probably become one of the top stars in that division. No doubt about it. But I think, like, with Tony Khan, I think you'd be a bit wary over that, backstage issues and in an attitude. I think many people have said in the past he has a bit of an attitude problem and he can get a bit of backstage heat, so maybe be a bit wary over that. But time will tell.
Not long ago, MJF made a promo. A pipe bomb.
Yeah, I think
An AEW pipe bomb. What's the crack with MJF here, Scott?
storyline. 100% the storyline.
You reckon? So, this is a repeat of Stone Cold and Vince McMahon, you reckon?
Well, I think the rumours about MJF running down his contracts, I think, are true. I think he's under contract with AEW until 2024, and the fact that he's going to run down his contract, I think, is true. So, obviously, he has been a bit outspoken in the media, which we've all seen. And I think Tony Khan, is a bit of a genius to play off that. I think he's turning that into a great storyline, which I think will probably be one of the best storylines in wrestling for the rest of 2022.
If this
it's definitely a storyline.
If this becomes a success, if it is a storyline, and it draws in a lot more viewers and a lot more ratings for AEW, and it comes down as a great win for AEW, do you reckon MJF would sign another contract with AEW, or he would go elsewhere? Matt?
I think it's like he does eventually want to be in WWE, obviously, because he keeps mentioning if he's Britcard, who's like on creative. So it's no doubt he probably wants to become WWE champion over there when his contract ends. But with the storyline that's going on at the moment, yes, I totally agree with you. It is probably become like Vince Stone Cold wrestler versus storyline. But I can see probably it's all out or full year by the end of the year. I can see it probably be maybe a team AEW that represents on versus maybe Team MJF and some stipulation where if MJF wins, then he can get what his terms, maybe get a title shot straight away. But then say if MJF loses, then he won't get what he wants. He'll probably get reduced pay. He'll just make the remaining year of his contracts like probably live out.
I get.
So either way, he'll probably will end up getting his own way.
What do you think, Scott? Do you reckon this would potentially him staying with AEW, or is he going WWE?
In my head, I think he will go to WWE because I think WWE is his ambition. But if it's going to be like this thing where it's Team MJF versus Team X WWE, where will Sean Spears stand in this storyline? That is a very good question. Because technically, Sean Spears is an ex-WWE guy, as we all know. I do think the ambition from MJF is to be a WWE guy at some point. He won't be as good as he is now, because in WWE things are sort of, or it's more in like in a shell where everything you say is monitored. Whereas in AEW, there's sort of a bit more creative freedom. Now, I suppose that's where I think this entire pipe bomb is a storyline. Because even CM Punk's infamous pipe bomb, he was told that he turned up for the arena that day, right, you've got a few minutes, basically go out there and say what you want. So, really, the WWE gave him that platform to do it. WWE knew he was going to go out there and say something. And that's why I think Tony Khan has basically said to Max, well, okay, let's run with this. Air your grievances. I'll turn it into something special. Just like Vince did with CM Punk. And that elevated CM Punk into godlike level. He ended up being a champion for, what was it, 380 something days?
400 and...
Or was it 400 and something? It was
427 days.
Yeah, so...
Something like that, anyway.
This could be local. Yeah. I think that's why I think this has got to be a storyline.
I do agree with you. I think it is storyline. I don't think it's true. I think this will be, because AEW have got a history of long-term storylines, and they do turn out to be absolutely fantastic. And I agree with you. I think this is just pure storyline.
Would you see it being another way as well? I don't know about you, Jason, but obviously you've got the Forbidden Door, and you've got an ex-WWE superstar in John Moxley fighting for the interim championship. So say, for example, John Moxley does win at the Forbidden Door, and then obviously it'll be Moxley versus CM Punk ex-WWE versus ex-WWE. So, with you saying like storyline could be ex-WWE guys, could then somehow MJF get involved and make it a triple threat, and then somehow he does win the big one off an ex-WWE superstar? Could that work out?
I see where you're going on that. I think it would work. What do you think, Scott?
I actually think that Tanahashi will actually beat Moxley. I've got a feeling that Tanahashi beats him, becomes an interim champion. At the end of the day, when it comes down to champion versus champion, Punk will retain when Punk is fit, and Punk will go on as the undisputed champion. It will still work if MJF beats Punk for that championship. So in a way, that sort of story will still work, regardless of if Moxley wins or not. But I think the plan was Punk versus Tanahashi. Moxley wasn't even supposed to be in this conversation. It wasn't if Punk got injured, then Moxley was given this opportunity. And if it wasn't for Punk's injury, this match wouldn't even be happening. It would be Punk versus Tanahashi. So that's why I think Tanahashi will win.
Interesting.
It is interesting indeed. CM Punk wins the AEW title and vacates the title the next night. What are our thoughts on this? We'll mix it round a bit, Scott.
I think the fact that he wanted to just shows what sort of guy he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he battled to win it. Injured himself. I think he went to Tony Khan and said, "Right, I'm gonna surrender it because I can't go." And Tony come up with this secondary plan, this plan B. And yeah, I still think when Punk comes back, he still will be the champion in some capacity. It's just an interim championship, which I think is a good thing to do. I think they're still acknowledging that Punk is the real champion. But at the same time, they need someone to be a fighting champion whilst Punk is on the sidelines.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the entire way that AEW has handled it, I think, is a fair way to all. That way, we still could get the match that Tony wanted at Forbidden Door. I mean, Moxley, I think, will be too preoccupied with the JAS in be pushed into the world title picture. I think there's still that feud going on with the Jericho Appreciation Society. So now I think having interim champion and keeping Punk as the champion, I think is the fair way to go.
Yeah.
That way you've still got a fighting champion, you've still got Punk as the actual champion. So, yeah, I think it's a great move by AEW.
Matt, during that match with Hangman Page, we saw a springboard clothesline. Was it during that match CM Punk got injured, or was it the next night where he jumped into the barriers, into the crowd?
I would say it was probably during the match, but then he obviously wanted to jump in the barriers anyway as a celebration of actually winning the title after 7 long years away. But then I think, obviously after the days go on, it's probably, something's probably flared up, and he's like, oh shit, like something is serious. He probably knew he was injured. He probably thought, took it off, it's nothing serious. But then reality set in and thought, no, I've got to go to Tony Khan about this. They need a fighting champion. Yeah, fair enough. I've won it after 7 long years. Bump in the road, like he says. They need a fighting champion. I'll go train harder than ever before for the comeback. Because they always say the comeback's harder than the setback. So he's going to come back when he's fully cleared, and as we try to go on to his long reign as champion.
Where do you think he got injured, Scott?
I think he got injured on Dynamite afterwards. Because I think if there was any possibility he was injured, I don't think they would have booked the six-man tag with Punk and FTR. I think it was either when he jumped into the crowd, but then he looks completely normal. There was a time when he went for a springboard and he sort of slipped and he didn't quite get the full leverage on it. And then I think he knew then that something was wrong. He sort of turned around to the crowd and he mouthed the word sorry. So I think he knew then that he injured himself. So I think it was in the six-man tag itself when he got injured. That's what I think.
It's a shame, really, because, you know, 7 long years, he's waited for this. He gets that opportunity, beats Hangman Page, and then he has to vacate the title. But if AEW already knew he was injured, why did they give him the title anyway?
Well, there you go. Great question.
I'll ask you both that question, actually. We'll start off with Matt. What do you think on that?
I don't think they did know that he was injured until, like Scott said, until the six-man tag. I just think it was just one of them most unfortunate things that went against him. And like Scott said, turned to the crowd and he basically whispered, sorry. So it's like he knew I've got to get through this match now and take it from there.
What do you think on it, Scott?
Yeah, I think the plan was always to put the title on Punk at Double or Nothing, I think.
Yeah.
I think Tony always wanted to do that. So I don't think he was injured in the match. Because I don't think if he was, I don't think they would have proceeded with the six-man tag. So it had to have been something that sort of just happened there and then, and them to sort of they are still showing their faith in Punk because they haven't actually stripped him of the title. He is still technically the AEW World Champion, regardless of who wins 26. So yeah, they're still backing him. They're still putting their faith in him. They're still saying you are our champion. But they just need someone to sort of like fill that hole whilst he's injured.
It's a shame, and I do hope CM Punk gets back to that level, and we actually see him as the champion he deserves to be. I actually wanted to see one more run for CM Punk. I wanted to see another title run for CM Punk, and then hopefully he springboards an AEW star off. Someone like MJF, someone like Jungle Boy, someone like Darby Allin. That's what I was hoping for it to be. But hopefully when he comes back, we will get to see something like that go down. The next question, the next topic. I'm going to mix this up a bit, actually. So, with the embarrassment of Vince McMahon, Stephanie is springboard into being our new WWE interim CEO. During the end of SmackDown, Brock Lesnar enters that arena. Fans are going wild. He shakes Roman's hand and obliterates the bloodline. What do you think of that, Matt? Is this... Has something happened for someone in WWE, whether it's Vince McMahon in creative, whether it's Stephanie McMahon, calling in Brock Lesnar as a last-minute saviour to save WWE from what's gone down with Vince McMahon?
I think before this investigation, I think, in my opinion, I think it was locked in or something like that to build SummerSlam in to get the SmackDown rating up again. I just think it was like a couple of the superstars said, maybe it's a bit of a cry for desperation.
Yeah.
You know, they've lost Cody, they've lost Orton, still no Bailey. So Reigns on a like a kind of contract schedule now.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, that we need a big name. We need it quick, and they haven't really built the stars for the future. Everyone knew this was going to happen one day, and again, you know, it's just fell short of what Vince wanted.
What do you think on what Matt's said, Scott? Is there some light to what he said? Are WWE desperate? Was this a last-minute call because of what has gone down with Vince? Did they need something big to go down? Did they need something quick, as Matt has described, as a desperate move to get fans away from Vince McMahon, to get fans away from what's going on with Cody, Bailey?
Possibly, yeah. Because at the end of the day, SummerSlam is one of the major pay-per-views.
Yeah.
It's one of their big four. So you do need sort of like a big name match to sort of bring the fans in. Whether Brock had to be the answer to that, I don't know. And in my opinion, the way they've booked it, I think Brock has to win. Because Brock has been made to look like this really unbeatable beast of nature for over 20 years. Ever since he debuted, he has destroyed numerous people, beaten legends. If you're bringing him back to lose the Roman Reigns for a third time, that's going to make Brock look incredibly weak.
Yeah.
I think the way they've booked it, Brock has to win this time. Otherwise, just make you think, well, he destroys all them people, yet he can't beat Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And especially with it being the last man standing as well. I agree with you there.
I heard a rumour that. Go on.
We're going to bring out a pair of handcuffs that won't unlock, so they have to beat up the referee so they can get the 10 count out of it. Like a Royal Rumble.
Yeah. I heard a rumour that Roman doesn't want to do 2 shows anymore. And that Brock's been called to fill that void.
So the person doesn't want to do 2 shows, so they should avoid the person who doesn't want to do 1. Yeah, that's very smart, isn't it?
But I also heard that John Cena was rumoured to be returning at some point.
Yeah, I think he's in Raw next Monday, I think.
What?
Yeah, June 27th.
I'm pretty sure he's there tonight to do something with Austin Theory.
I heard something with that, yeah. I heard something about that.
Advertisement says June 27th.
Yeah.
Not sure then.
That's the adverts I've been seeing. But yeah, the rumour is with Austin Theory. That is correct.
Yeah. Would that be a good move for a WWE to make?
I think, in a way, yes, because it's clear that Theory is a guy that they're putting a lot of faith in as a future star. If they can push in an angle with someone with John Cena's magnitude, it will only help him. The only question is whether or not to have him win. And where does it go with Bobby Lashley? Because he's still feuding with Lashley. Where will that go? Hopefully in the bin.
What are our thoughts on Cody Rhodes' injury so far?
Must be heartbreaking for him, really.
Yeah.
But, like you say, I think Michael kind of come up with this. It's like, is it trying to plan for, the future for the family? Bit funny 9 months out. Is he planning on trying to have Mrs. Rhodes to have another baby? Just a bit interesting, man.
I asked Scott this the other day on the interview that the mic wasn't on. But I'm going to ask you this question. Would you think the injury is fake? Or is it real?
You can tell by the bruise on his chest. I think it's definitely a real injury. And it's just a shame how it's played out. But it's absolutely fair play to the guy. He just could have gone out. He could have just done a promo on that night and said, "Sorry guys, it is what it is. I'm sorry for you wanted to see the match with me and Seth, but I can't go. I can't go. I'm going to rest up. See you soon." But no, he says, "No, the fans have paid for this match. I know I'm bruised up, but no, I'm going to give these fans one hell of a show." And thank God he did.
Yeah, fair credit to the guy. 100% respect to him.
But this is where I'm going to cut on now. This is where I'm going to step in here. Right, so Dalv Meltzer gave that match a 5-star match. Right. But the match before that was totally... The WrestleMania match was totally way better than the Hell in a Cell match. The Hell in a Cell match, don't get me wrong, it was absolutely fantastic. It felt the moment was there because obviously he was injured and he wrestled through that injury to defeat Seth Rollins. And it looked incredible the way he pulled it off, you know what I mean? With that type of injury, he absolutely wrestled through a lot of demons there. He wrestled through his gut, his instincts. He wrestled through his mind, you know what I mean, to pull off some incredible match. But was it an overrated match by Dalv Meltzer?
I wouldn't say it was overrated at all, no.
You would give it a 5-star match?
Oh, damn right. Just by, the respect. Really. I think any other guy would probably just take the easy route out and go, nah, enough's enough, I'm going home and rest.
Yeah. Well, fair kudos to the guy, man. He didn't hang up his boots. He didn't go home. He carried on, and he gave us some He gave us some incredible match. What are your thoughts on that, Scott? What's your take on it? Was it an overrated match? What?
Well, I can't say for certain yet because I've not actually seen the whole thing. Yeah, but a lot of people I talk to on social media don't really take much notice of what Dave Meltzer says.
Right.
So I'm just going to say he's part of folklore, the likes of Jim Cornette. So whether people actually believe that or not, I suppose it's just down to personal opinion. If he thinks that is brilliant, fair play to him. If he enjoyed it, then that's good. I mean, he enjoyed the match, but if people enjoy things, then just let them enjoy it.
Yeah.
Simple.
As we always say here, hashtag just enjoy wrestling.
Hashtag stop bloody moaning.
What were the ugly moments? What were the worst moments? And what was the hard to watch moments of Backlash and Hell in a Cell? We'll start off with Matt.
I just think the whole product's just becoming too predictable and boring at the moment. I just think you've got the creative have got nothing for half of the superstars. It's just really isn't bad. They need to shuffle the backstage, get some decent storyline writers and go right. How to get the fusion for Raw and SmackDown? We need something big, something new, something fresh, something exciting to get the back. I think they need a little bit of attitude to hear a kind of storyline.
Yeah.
You know, big badass story.
What were the worst moments for the past two events for you then?
For me, what I would sort of struggle to get behind is repeated matches.
Right.
I think if you've seen something at one pay-per-view, do we really need to see the same feuds broken out across several pay-per-views? I mean, how many times have we seen? I mean, Seth and Cody, that could have stopped at the end of Backlash.
Yeah.
What if it was going to do the Hell in a Cell? They should have had Seth win at Backlash, in my opinion, to make the rivalry more interesting.
Could you elaborate on that? What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Well, I think Cody won at WrestleMania.
Right.
And then I think if Seth had won the second match, it would have made Hell in a Cell a rubber. That way we were known for certain who would have won the feud. But they've had Seth go in, and he's lost 3 high-profile pay-per-view matches in a row. The same guy. And now he's going towards Money in the Bank. Now, if he wins that, I think that'd be clueless booking. Because people who lose 7 matches in a row shouldn't get pushed. Someone who should be getting pushed, in my opinion, is Bobby Lashley. He beat Omos and MVP in a handicap match. What was his reward? A posing contest with Austin Theory. Seth Rollins loses 3 high-pro matches in a row. What's his reward?
Money in the Bank.
Potential world title shot anytime he wants. That's all I have to say on that.
Well, all 3 of them losses were potential 4-star matches. The last one, Hell in a Cell, was like a 5-star match.
The match quality would be great, but I still would have had Seth win the middle match at Backlash. That's my personal.
I agree with you on that one. I totally agree with you on that one. I thought it would have made more sense if at one stage Seth got the upper hand over Cody. It would have explained why he attacked Cody Rhodes the previous week, and then it would explain Cody Rhodes' comeback from a setback. You know what I mean? And Hell in a Cell for me would have felt so much better. I graded it at a 4.75 purely for the reason that it was, like you said, it was 3 losses to Seth Rollins. I would have given a win to Seth Rollins on Backlash. It would have made for the revenge, and then it would have made so much sense for the setback. You know, for Cody Rhodes to battle from the setback and overcome his demons, overcome his arch enemy Seth Rollins, and it would have felt so much better, you know, if Cody Rhodes had come from a loss and won Seth Rollins overall at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it must be a massive shock, especially after you said that Cody Rhodes wasn't going to show up in WWE.
To be honest, I thought he wouldn't show up at WWE. I thought he would have negotiated a lot more with Tony Khan, you know. And don't get me wrong, I ain't got no bad qualms with Cody Rhodes. You know, I thought with him being in WWE prior to AEW, before AEW, he wouldn't go back there because of his bad history there, of being embarrassed, made to look like a fool. You know, his character with the star quality that he had back then was it was basically like Drew McIntyre. You know, they both got sidelined, they both got wiped out, but then Drew McIntyre made that comeback, and look where he is today. I think if it wasn't for AEW, Cody Rhodes wouldn't be where he is now. Would you say that, Scott?
Yeah, I think that's a very fair argument. Even before that, Cody was doing great work in Ring of Honor, doing the indie side, but AEW I think had to be. It's a blessing for Cody, and I wonder how many people in AEW now looking at Cody Rhodes and thinking, I mean, could that be me?
But it brings on the question, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It brings on the question whether if Seth Rollins is going to win at Money in the Bank. Are we going to see go down? This is my prediction. I want both of your takes here. Right, so what if Seth Rollins wins at Money in the Bank? Brock Lesnar defeats Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for the Undisputed Championship. Moments later, you know, you got a battled, tired Brock Lesnar. Seth Rollins cashes in on Brock Lesnar, wins the Undisputed Championship. Cody Rhodes comes back, Royal Rumble. Are we going to see Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes again for the Undisputed Championship? We'll start off with Matt.
100% yes.
100% yes. Elaborate.
I'd say one Rumble though. I would maybe say Elimination Chamber, maybe.
Right.
I could probably see Cody winning the Rumble though.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on?
I could see where you're going with that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Scott?
For a start, I really hope Seth Rollins doesn't win Money in the Bank. No disrespect, but I don't.
Because you know what's going to happen, don't you? It's going to be the fourth way round, isn't it?
No, not even because of that. to see somebody come off the back of 3 major losses and then win one of the big matches in the company. I personally don't want to see that. I'd rather it go to somebody who is red hot and on fire. Someone like a Bobby Lashley, or even, dare I say it, Matt Riddle. I would rather see someone like that who's had a great few months, who's really on fire. Even a Drew McIntyre. I would even be happy to see Drew McIntyre win that Money in the Bank briefcase. Because there's only a few people out there who I think should make perfect sense to push into the world title picture. And if Rollins does, then okay, that's the way I want to go. But I personally don't want to see Rollins get it because of the fact that he's just lost 3 huge matches in a row. Alright, he beat AJ Styles on Raw to qualify. Fair enough. Because AJ has also lost the last few high profile matches he's been in. So either way, we still have had someone in it who's lost the last few big matches they're in it. But if Rollins does win, I thought, well, you're just doing it to tell a story. I mean, you've had him lose all this. I mean, give it to someone who's been winning matches. Let's see someone like Bobby Lashley win it, or Drew McIntyre win it. Give it to someone who's red hot.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Could I probably just say back in the door force on that one?
Right, go on.
This match shocked you a bit. Like with Scott saying, give it to someone who's red hot. Right, this is totally out of the box. But say Brock Lesnar wins the last man standing, and the person who will win Money in the Bank, he's had a little bit of a rivalry with him, especially the Elimination Chamber match. The winner of the Money in the Bank and cashing in on Lesnar and potentially winning will be Austin Theory.
I wouldn't say no to that.
Austin Theory.
I wouldn't say no to that at all. At least Theory's had some sort of success in the last few months, at least.
And it doesn't mean that Theory will win on his own.
Well, yeah, because basically, if you have Austin Theory to win the championship, what you could do is, you know, Brock Lesnar has come out, like I told you before, like Brock Lesnar could come out of, he's battled, he's bruised, he's tired from wrestling a big star in Roman Reigns. So literally, like a few minutes down the road, bang, or you could have Austin Theory come running down the ring, bang, cashes in on Brock Lesnar with a roll up.
It doesn't have to be that. It could be if a man punched by Roman Reigns, he's annoyed that he's lost the title, and then Heyman could wait. Heyman could wave down and say, "Get Austin Theory, get Austin Theory." Come running down. Brock Lesnar's knocked out. But, 1, 2, 3.
You think they could screw him over like that?
Or, dare I say this, I even hate myself for even suggesting it.
Go on, come on, what are you thinking?
Sami Zayn.
Oh.
Oh,
That's a good shout there.
And don't forget, he is in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match this Friday on SmackDown against Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, yeah.
Storyline wise, that can work a lot. But I hate myself for suggesting it.
Oh, interesting.
And there's possibilities there, guys.
Yeah, there is possibilities.
What are our predictions for Money in the Bank?
My early prediction is Drew McIntyre right now.
Are you going to keep it at Drew McIntyre or? Are we changing it to Sami? Or are we changing it to Sami Zayn?
Let's see if he beats Nakamura first. We'll get back to it.
What about you, Matt? What's your predictions for Money in the Bank?
I wouldn't mind seeing Drew McIntyre and then maybe McIntyre does cash in, but not the sneaky way. He actually cashes in for a one-on-one or a title match from the beginning, not a sneak attack. I think he makes the match in class of the castle. They right, I'm cashing on the champ. I want him at the beginning.
My prediction is, if it's not going to be someone hot right now in WWE, I think it's just going to be the same old predictable thing, and it's going to be a Seth Rollins win. It's going to be a Seth Rollins grab, and he's going to cash in. Quick time.
Please no. Please no.
And
Are you sure it's not going to be one of Max Dupree's guys?
Max Dupree's guys.
That's even worse.
So, what did we overall think of the Seth Rollins and Cody feud?
Great feud. Maybe stretch it out a little bit too long.
Yeah.
Post SummerSlam, what are your predictions? Moving away from Money in the Bank.
Cody will win the world title at some point. That's not happening. I think.
What about you, Matt?
Austin Theory will put his name on the map by defeating John Cena.
Well, yeah, that could. Yeah, I can see that going down. He needs to beat someone like John Cena to put him on the map, really. Right then, guys, I think that's going to be it for this show. And thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate you coming in for this podcast, and we had to cram everything in from the past 3 months, and it's been a great show, and it's been fantastic having you on here again. And hopefully we'll see you in a couple of days for the next one. And we're going to bring in WWE Failed back here on the Contenders Corner. What I might do is I might ask one of you to choose which wrestler that you wanted to discuss on WWE Failed to. I'll message one of you, and then you can just choose a wrestler that you think's been failed by WWE, and we'll talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Have a good day, guys, and I'll see you again.
Yeah, right.
Way! And stay awesome.